How you are in the world matters. Overwhelm is inevitable and optional. Time to listen up and make it optional for you. So, this week I want to get really honest with you, and I want you to take the opportunity to get honest with yourself, because it's really powerful when we do this. So people often say, I love your voice, Heidi. You have a voice for radio. Your voice is so calming. And I love that, because that's a gift. That's a real gift. When people tell me that they find my voice calming and grounding and centering, I'm grateful. But my voice isn't always like this. Sometimes I spit my dummy. Sometimes I completely lose it, and also I get quite feisty in a good verbal joust. My voice isn't always calm. It's probably not always calm on this podcast. And what I find difficult is when people assume from my voice that I'm always calm, that I'm always kind of like zen-like, or I'm always patient with those around me, and I never get annoyed about anything. I never get upset about anything. Because if that's the impression you're getting from my voice, then I just want to put you straight, because I'm so human. And everything that I'm teaching on this podcast, everything I'm talking about it because I know about it, because it's what I've struggled with. So yes, I'm in a position to help people because I've come through the other end of that terrible struggle where you're stuck between exhaustion or giving up, between pushing yourself really hard or allowing the shame of crumbling and admitting you can't do what you're paid to do or expected to do. Those real painful points where we get ourselves stuck. And if you've listened to any of my other episodes, you'll be really aware that I crashed and burned, and there was a lot of shame and grief in that. So having been through stuff means that I'm qualified to talk about it, put my opinion out there, and also my actual qualifications, knowledge, experience, etc. qualifies me to teach about it. And then you get to choose whether what I'm saying resonates and is for you or not. So that's where I'm coming from, a place of love, a place of having a gift. This is my gift to the world at the moment. This is all of my pain and struggle, but also all my triumphs over that, and finding a new way to do things, and all of my studying and everything I've been taught, all pulled together for you if it suits you. And if it doesn't, ignore it. Because you should never do anything that doesn't resonate, that isn't for you, that annoys you, that just doesn't feel true for you. It's not for you, right? But this is where I'm coming from. This is why I'm doing this. But that doesn't mean that is black and white. And I think this is something that really irritates me. And anything that irritates me, I'm using at the moment really well, I hope. I'm trying to use things that irritate me, little triggers, to examine that and think, oh, what is it about what that person says that's really annoyed me? What is it? What's going on? So a good example of this is when I go on a little bit of a rant about when people kindly put, well done, Heidi, success is not in your comfort zone. So say I've posted about something that, I'm celebrating. I've broken through some fear usually about being visible online, talking on my podcast, daring to step up and say I can help. And I noticed I was getting really irritated because it's meant well, it's meant kindly. Well done, Heidi. Success is never in your comfort zone. So the suggestion there is, to me, this is how I took it. It might not be what's meant, but this is what I examined for myself, and see if this kind of rings true for you. That therefore I was really comfortable, and then I did something, I kind of felt the fear and did it anyway. And I got out of my comfort zone, and therefore I'm in the next level of success. And that really irritates me, because first of all, it's damn uncomfortable being at that point where you really want to do something, but it's really confusing, overwhelming. You don't feel that you can, you don't feel that you're good enough, etc. Or that you need more qualifications or more guidance or another structure or whatever it is in your life. That's actually really painful for me. I don't know about you. And also what I don't like is the idea that there is success and non-success. Like there's successful people and not successful people. So there's people who are not successful because they're sitting in their comfort zone, because they're too scared and too lazy to get out of their comfort zone. And then there's the successful people who are really brave and courageous and just do stuff, and they're highly successful. And it's not that it's meant that way. It's just that when we reduce things to platitudes, we can lose the depth of what's going on, and the depth is really important. So this brings me back to the black and white thing of, oh, Heidi, your voice is really calm, and you're really patient and this kind of thing. And I don't want it to appear like I've got everything sussed, because I haven't. What I have got sussed is that I have dug deep, researched well, done my free coaching, low paid coaching, higher paid coaching, put in the time and effort, researching, really listening and helping people who I can help the best. So I've really, really been looking at that, and I continue to do that because I'm deeply reflective. And that has enabled me to say, okay, so the habits and beliefs, the mistaken beliefs and habits that got me and the people I work with to this horrible stuckness where we feel like we just can't go on, but we can't stop. The exhaustion, the overworking, the pleasing everybody else but ourselves, the feeling like we're surfing a verge of breakdown where we're going to lose it in front of people and lose our standing, lose our self-respect, lose everything we've worked so hard for. All of those, that horrible, overwhelming, exhausting, exasperating place to be, where you're working really hard, doing all the things, but life is just not what you intended it to be. It just doesn't suit you. It doesn't fit you. It's draining you. It's making you sick. It's damaging your relationships. And you feel like you're losing an essential part of who you are. That fun part who believes in, the world being better in some way, even if it's for you and your family or if it's on a bigger scale. That hopeful part, that optimistic, that positive part, the part that knows how to spontaneously dance and laugh. If you're losing that part of yourself, that for me is when I'm in big trouble. So I've gone back and looked at my own patterns and then worked with other people and talked to them about their patterns, and then worked out, okay, so it's the patterns we need to change. It's the habits. We need to challenge those limiting, mistaken beliefs that a successful life, a life well lived, demands the sacrifice of your health and your relationships. Because clearly that's a nonsense, because a life well lived needs good health, includes good health, and is all about great relationships, right? So having to choose between meaningful, satisfying work, great relationships, and health doesn't make any sense, because they're all so intertwined. At least they are for me. They might not be for you, but they are for me and they are for my clients. And because I've done that and looked at those habits, and I work every day to hone my new habits of self-acceptance. Okay, so this is who I am at this point in my life. These are my triggers to overworking and exhaustion. These are the ways that I need to get things done, which are better for me than the old way where I had that single-minded focus, got stuck in a tunnel and ignored everything else until I damaged my health and relationships. So that reversal, that's where I am, but I'm just further ahead of either you, because that's why you're listening to the podcast, because you want to know my insights, or my clients. So I'm ahead, and I'm able to say, yeah, do you think you're at that point, and asking them questions, and then seeing their faces light up and seeing that shift, that, oh my God, I thought I had to do it the hard way, and oh look, there's all these hidden possibilities, and that it's such a joy to see that. So to recap quickly, it's not an either or. We're not either successful or not successful. We're not either in our comfort zone or not in our comfort zone. I am not perfectly calm and zen-like all the time and have everything sussed and never need to examine or let go of some other cruddy habit or mistaken belief that stops me living my life to the full. It's a continual process, but I've done huge amounts of it, and I am living the life of my dreams. I literally am, and I'm so grateful. And it's been a long haul to get here, and it's not over, because the life of my dreams to me is just becoming more and more me, just more acceptance, more self-kindness, which I still find quite challenging, because it sounds fluffy, but it's really tough, because self-kindness is not doing the easy eating the crappy food, or lying on the settee zoning out rather than going for a beautiful walk. Self-kindness to me I find it quite challenging. I don't know about you. These are questions for you, because you're not me, you're different than me, and what rings true for you might not be what rings true for me. But for me, it's about teaching you, if you want to be taught, how to really deeply listen to yourself, because that's it for me in the end. It's we challenge the mistaken beliefs that get us in this stuckness, this going around in circles, getting stuck in a tunnel, hunkering down in the cave, telling the world to go away. Challenging that and undoing the previous habits that got us to success, that allowed us to create this life that should work for us but really doesn't. So you've got the lifestyle, but you feel trapped by a job that you did love, and there's parts of it that give you satisfaction and meaning, but it's just the cost is too high in terms of your health and relationships. And challenging that and saying, okay, so which bits do I want to keep, and how can I do it differently? And really, for me, it's not about quitting your job or changing lots of things. It's about tiny daily habits. And I call these tiny, huge, life-changing practices. And they're tiny, huge because I'm all about taking huge ideas and impactful thing and making it as small as possible, because that's what I had to do for me. I had to make it small. I had to make it possible, because I felt too broken to do anything bigger. And also I've always been like this. When I taught maths, I was like that. What's the smallest thing we can do that will have the biggest impact? Because it's fun, right? Why not do it? So these tiny, huge, life-changing practices, which I'm going to be teaching more and more of on this podcast over the next few weeks. So you can just take them away and try them for yourself. And if you feel inspired, let me know how it goes, or just give them to somebody else, whatever. Just, I love teaching. I miss teaching. I do not miss teaching maths, but I miss having a group of people and teaching them. I do it in my membership once a month, but I want to reach more and more people. So yeah, I'm thinking, maybe a Facebook group, because that would be a fun way of doing it. But anyway, so I'm going to be teaching more and more of these, because I've distilled as much as I can into these tiny little habits, like literally a minute or a moment in your day, so that you can reverse the habits that got you to where you are and get the better habits. So that's moving away from overworking, ignoring your body, ignoring your heart, which just damages your relationships, damages your health, and finding a way to focus on what's really important to you. So do really good work and have amazing health and have awesome relationships, because for you they're completely entwined, and you cannot compromise. It's just who you are, and you want to live life to the full. You want all of those things. So I hope that makes sense. That was me getting real with you, saying I'm not perfect, because I'm not. But for you to get real with you, these are my questions for you. Do you feel that feel like you're living somebody else's life, like you've accidentally created a life that's just not quite yours, it doesn't quite fit for you, so you're kind of squishing yourself into somebody else's life, and or the life that you've created just doesn't work for you? So they're similar things. One is kind of like, I don't know, I just noticed it several times in my life and talking to other people, that you get that feeling like, I feel like a stranger in my life because I don't feel very welcome in it. It doesn't quite work for me. So it's kind of the same thing, but it might just it might trigger a different way of thinking for you. So does it feel like you're living somebody else's life? Or try this one. is the life that you've worked so hard to create. So you jump through all the exam hoops and the studying and the promotions or creating a business, whatever that level of success is for you, that enables you to have the lifestyle you want just about, but there's more that you want, but you're getting stuck because you're becoming increasingly short-tempered. You're not as much fun as you used to be. You're getting exhausted. You get sick more often, or you just generally feel unwell. So there's I think unwellness is a really interesting one. Like your body's going, oh, niggle here, niggle there. Maybe your digestion's gone weird. You're not sleeping as well. These are like things that there's no point going to the doctor with, it's unwellness. It's not, you don't feel as good as you want to feel. You don't have the energy that you want. You're starting to be concerned that there's all these kind of little problems that need to be solved in your body. Or if you want to do this one, I think this is probably even faster or more honest, is if you can for a moment, drop your attention into your heart space. This is the center of your chest. You can put your hands here if it helps, because anything that helps draw your attention is just useful and quicker, makes it easier. Everything should be easier. And ask yourself this question. Let this question resonate through your heart. Am I really happy? How at ease do I feel when I wake in the morning? Or how at ease do I feel right now? So just get curious about physical sensations in the heart space. And the mind will label it, and it's difficult not to label it because you're trying to take notice of it and describe it. So I'll give you some descriptions, but then you need to undo the descriptions if you want to go deeper. So for example, sometimes we can feel a tightness, a heaviness, and then other times we can feel an expansiveness and a lightness. And we would put this with, well, we say it, don't we? I had a heavy heart. Or you get relief and release and you can feel it in your chest. But then now you've got some kind of ideas about kind of what you're not what you're looking for, because you don't want to direct it. I want you to keep this really neutral. So this is a neutral noticing practice. So drop into your heart space and just notice completely neutrally what's going on there. Just physical sensations. And then see if you can notice that the mind labels them, and then let that go and just get curious on a physical level. It takes a moment, but it's worth doing several times a day because it will give you information. So you're tapping into the intelligence of the heart, and the heart does definitely have intelligence for you. And we have the language of the heart in our, we have sayings about the heart in our language, but then we kind of dismiss it as fluffy and foolish. And that's because if you just follow your heart without also taking into account your body and your mind, then it can be a bit imbalanced. But at the moment, we tend to be top heavy. So we tend to be all in the mind, everything's rational, make lists, weigh things up, even though our heart's going, do it, book that holiday, go out with that person, buy that house, yay. And then we're making these lists going, And very often we make the decision with our heart and then we rationalize it later. But anyway, ask your heart what it wants. Ask yourself if you're really happy, and then just see what comes up. But if you're going to get really honest with yourself and where you are in your life, then please do it with kindness. Because if you get into the, oh my God, I've made a complete mess, that's the mind doing its naggy stuff, and that's not helpful. You don't want that information. That's not helpful. So yeah, drop that. Ignore that rubbish, naggy old mind. Drop into the body and heart and ask, is this the life you intended to create? So from the outside, it might look like it because you've got successful work, you have good relationships, they're just not where you want them to be, and you're kind of relatively healthy, but you feel unwell. Or if it's got worse, you'll be like on the point of burnout, and that, and that's when you have to make changes. But it's really good if you can notice before then, because it's just easier. And I'm all about making it easier. So that was me getting real with you. And now I invite you to get really real with yourself. So enjoy, be kind, get curious and see what you find out for yourself. And then come and join me in the next few weeks for these tiny, huge life-changing practices The first one that you already know about is the 1 minute mark, which is a 1 minute audio to help you get out of your head into your body and practice neutral noticing. So you can reset your day and just take a pause from the overwhelm. I'll put a link to that in the show notes, and I hope to see you next week. Have an unexpectedly lovely week. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Overwhelm is Optional podcast. If you find this podcast has lifted your day, inspired you, or helped you in any way, please take some time to subscribe or share it, or preferably both, so more people can find out about my work. To connect with me, please email me at heidi@heidimark.co.uk. That's Heidi, Heidi, at heidimark.co.uk, or visit me on all the normal social media platforms at Heidi Mark.